Hello, my name is Chanel, this is Spirited Stardust, and today I'm doing Craft Cafe, and I'm beginning by going through the recipes that I made this week. So the first thing I made was a zucchini, goat's cheese frittata. I sort of just chucked it all together. I will put my recipe down below, but it's a very Moorish, simple, I would call it like a peasant style dish or something like my grandmother would just whip up really quick. Have with some nice fresh made chunky bread. So I also put chicken in my frittata as well. So that's another mention. Chicken, zucchini, goat's cheese frittata. That was yum. That was really yum, and it's something that I can even eat the next day. I think it holds up well. The next thing I made was a banana choc chip cake loaf bread, whatever you want to call it. This is a recipe I've used time and time again. It's my go-to. I've tried so many banana bread recipes. This is my favorite because it's moist. I do tend to put less sugar, I will say that, just because I don't need things as sweet, especially if my bananas are super ripe. Sometimes I might put an extra banana in if I want it extra moist. But it's really yum, and it's Moorish, and it's delicious, you know, for morning, lunch, brunch, snack, or whatever you want to eat. You know, banana cake just has a bit of like heft to it that hits a spot. And I put the photo with the daffodils in the background. So these daffodils were from our friend's farm, and they had just a field of daffodil flowers, and they cut some for us, and it was so lovely. I love it when you can cut flowers from your own garden. At the moment, I think we've only got like 10 daffodils, so I don't want to cut any of them. I don't have enough to like take them away from the garden's beauty, but I'm hoping in the future I have my own little wildflower meadow and I can snip some for a vase. And the next thing I made was a triple chocolate praline tart with hazelnuts as well. So this is something I made in the past. And when I made it in the past, I did have a food processor, so it came out just perfectly. This time I did not have a food processor. So I pretty much just used my hands and a little blender. It was okay. It didn't work out as well as I did the first time I made it. And what I've done with the photo is I've just taken a photo of the photo that I took in the past, that I printed in a little cookbook that I made for myself. Because my original blog photo, almost in my entire blog photos, wherever I was hosting them, they've now been replaced with Ukraine flags. So I don't have the digital photos anymore, which is a shame. But it is quite stunning. It is rich and decadent. I instead of crushing the praline for the top sprinkles this time, I blitzed only half of it to put in the milk chocolate filling, and left half of the praline in like jagged pieces and put them around the edges instead, because I thought that was really pretty. But yeah, I did find though that the crust is a little dry. It is a little dry, the chocolate shortbread crust. I would put maybe more butter in it next time, personally. And but otherwise, yeah, you've got the milk chocolate praline filling, which is delicious. It's really like, it's not moussey, but it's smooth, and it's got the texture from the ground up toffee and hazelnuts. And then you've got the dark chocolate ganache, which adds a bit of bitterness that I think you definitely do need, because it is obviously such a sweet tart overall. Would I make it again? Probably not, because it's quite time intensive. You do have to chill multiple times throughout the recipe. So you do have to make the crust, then you got to chill it for an hour, and then you got to roll it out, you got to chill it for an hour, and then you got to blind bake it, and then you got to make it. Like, it takes a long time. I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't want it to take like 6 hours for dessert to final. Well, not more than that, because you've got to set it for hours. So I don't want it to take that long in between steps. But if you've got the time for it, go ahead. It's a great dish. But now we'll move on to what else I've made this week. Okay, so let's get into the yarn portion. So I'll start with this one. So these ones are ones I did before my injury. So this is dyed by hand yarns in bungil. This is like a silk wool mix. The stitch is Trinity stitch. So this is Trinity stitch. I'll just show you. So in this deck I keep my Magic and Mediums Oracle, because it's got those tones. I love this yarn. It was a pleasure to work with. It is beautifully soft. I love the way the color worked up. I think it's gorgeous. I do like Trinity stitch for bags. It's got a good knit, so it's quite sturdy. And yeah, this was a lovely yarn to work with too. Definitely buy again from them. Okay, next up I have, oh okay, this is, sorry, I've got cat hair. I kissed all my cats, so I was wearing lipstick. Oyster yarns, Maven, in the color Cake House, and I did just a typical Suzette stitch for this one. I keep my Alchemist's Garden tarot in there. So I'm going to be honest, for variegated, it's not very variegated in color. So I like a lot more difference in the color. This is a little too subtle for me, and I found that all of the ones I bought from the oyster yarn were very, very subtle in color. The yarn itself, it's nice. It is quite drapey though, so this doesn't have as much integrity as Suzette stitch normally does. So it's a bit too drapey for me as well. So I will not purchase them again personally. Next up, okay, so now these are some things that I crocheted recently. Now my even though I've been given the okay to crochet again, it's for a limited time during the day, and I found that I was so like worried about hurting myself. Like I was being super mindful of not having a lot of tension, because I think that's how I got into trouble. I normally am a tight crocheter, so I was trying to keep my hand loose to prevent injury, and because of that I've just had wonky tension, and I'm not in the hang of it. Do you know what I mean? When it's just like I'm not crocheting like myself, I'm trying to adjust. So the first thing I did was I made this one. This is Hedgehog in Magpie, and I did Suzette stitch, but like I said, I'll show you what I keep in here. So in here I have my Broadbent Sisters clearing cards. Yeah, I couldn't get it right. I couldn't even remember how to measure up the bags. It's like I was so out of practice after having taken almost 2 months off, that I had a lot of trouble getting back into it. So then I started looking into this thing called where is mine? It's called a crochet tension regulator. I think that's the word for it. So it looks like this. Excuse me, I've got a current project going on. Where is it? It's all twisted. Okay, so it looks like this. You crochet it up, you stick it on your finger, and that way when I'm crocheting I don't have to hold the yarn, so I'm not gripping because I get a lot of pain in my yarn hand from holding. That already hurts because that pain hasn't gone away yet, even with all the rest from holding my yarn. So this way I don't have to hold the yarn and I can keep these fingers out. It just naturally, oh, where's my hook? I swap hooks a lot as well, because otherwise I get like pain wherever the hook touches. Do you know what I mean? So I may as well go through the hooks. So I've got these hooks. I think this is like Knit Picks Pro, whatever. I'll look them up in case that's not what it's called and put the name. But I do like these. I can only crochet with hooks that aren't silver. Silver ones catch like glint and the glare, and I find myself staring at the silver and it actually hurts my eyes. So I have to have colored hooks. So I use these ones. These are great. Sometimes I use these are the Clover Armor hooks. I can't use these for a long time. I get pain in my hand if I use, well, back before when I was crocheting quite a lot, I got pain in my hand from using these ones. So I can't use them for long periods. I do also have, let's see, I'll just grab my little baggie. I do also have the Tulip in red, but unfortunately, like, I can't use these for long, even though I do like them. They're lightweight, they're beautiful. I love the hook, but this is so rubbery, and sometimes I just can't stand it. Like I just get the creeps. I don't know how to explain it, but I can't actually hack touching it. So, but my favorite ones of all time are these just aluminium ones. I really, really, really love these. These are hands down my favorite. I like having one that goes longer than the palm of my hand, because I find with the other crochet hooks, I get sometimes like calluses or blisters in here. Oh my god, I know you probably haven't even been seeing it, but yeah, see how this like nestles into my hand. whereas this one does not. So it goes further out. And I like it too because I've got more length to put my things on. So if I'm doing something like, if I'm doing, which I'll show you later, jasmine stitch, puff stitch, I need that space because I've got 24 loops on the hook with that. So these are my favorite, hands down. I've tried so many hooks, went through all of them, tried the ergonomics, hated the ergonomics. But yeah, I'll just like give you an example of this one. So because I don't have to, this is such a weird yarn, I'll talk about this next time, because I don't have to, like I said, hold the yarn. That's fantastic, and it doesn't hurt my hand. But it keeps the tension, which is good. And yeah, I'm doing okay. So this is amazing. This tension regulator, highly recommend too. And also, I'm not getting like yarn burn, which sometimes would happen wherever the yarn was rubbing. So yeah, those are my little bits and pieces. What was I doing? So I used the yarn crochet tension regulator thing to make this bag. This is, what's this one called? Pretty Twisted Knots. So it's Australian dyer, and this is in the color Aurora Australis, I think it is. And I did a griddle stitch for this one. I'll just show you what I keep in here. So I keep my Oracle of the Essences in here because I just thought it was well, not that one, but like it's a very vivid deck and I wanted a very vivid bag. Okay, so in terms of the yarn, I just realized now that in some lights that tree looks blue, not green. I wonder what it's coming up as on the screen. Anyway, the yarn, the color work is amazing. So the dye color, like gorgeous. I love the way it came up. I love the color. It's so vibrant. It's beautiful. The yarn is okay. It's average. So I've got a few more skeins from this dyer, but I probably won't purchase more in the future just because I'm just really fussy with the texture of yarns, and it's like not my favorite. And these yarns are quite expensive, to be honest. You're paying for the color work, the dye work, like the very unique color combinations. But yeah, wasn't a big fan. And in terms of the griddle stitch, it's okay. Like, I guess it's hard to tell when you got splotches like this. Like it looks like all the rows are uneven. It's okay. It's not bad, but would I use it more in the future? Possibly. It holds up quite well, maybe, but I don't know. I just don't think it looks as good as Suzette stitch personally. But I don't know. I don't mind it. I might try it with another yarn and see how that works up in that stitch. So yeah, I might give griddle stitch another shot. Okay, so besides that, I started, because I can't make as many things because it takes me a lot longer to make something in between like the taro bags, which I still have a few that I have to do to catch up. I'm trying to make other projects. So I'll put one here. I started an ambitious project which was to make my first top wearable. And I just used one of the cottons I have, but it was a 4-ply. I double stranded it, and I just don't think it works in clothing. I think maybe I would have been better off with a thicker yarn rather than double stranding a thinner yarn. So I've scrapped that project. I'm like, I know I'm not gonna want to wear this at the end. And I didn't know too, my friend Kate told me that with cotton, you want to make it smaller than you need because it stretches. I didn't know that. So this top was going to be way too long. I wanted a crop top. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna I didn't want to like just frog it all because I was like, oh, I spent so much time doing those rows. So I just tied it off, and I'm just going to use it as a scrap, like a tea towel or something. I don't know what to make out of it, but I've just got a rectangle of that fabric now. But yeah, I've got a lot of now smaller ply cotton yarn, like 4-ply cotton yarn, and I don't know what to do with it. So if you guys have got like any suggestions of what I can do with some 4-ply cotton yarn in terms of crocheting, I've got like texture on my finger, please let me know, because I've got a lot of it. my daughter at one stage wanted to crochet, and I bought her a whole box of cotton yarn, and she's decided she doesn't want to anymore, so I would like to use it. The next thing I tried my hand at were granny squares. So I'll put the first two photos up. So I tried the sunburst sunflower, but with a variegated yarn. It was just too busy, too messy. You couldn't really see the sunflower. So I frogged that, and then I just tried the solid granny square. And while this one was better, so for these ones I forgot to use my tension regulator as well, which is why the tension's wonky. While it was better, I still just didn't, I felt like it wasn't right, and I thought I want a really cozy blanket. So I thought I need to go for a puffier stitch because I want a really just like real puff blanket. So then the third one I tried was this baby right here. So this is, what do you call it? Jasmine stitch or jasmine puff stitch, whatever you want to call it. I did it in, so this is in the Life in the Long Grass in Shield, which I had leftovers of. And I'm just really like happy with it. I think it feels great because it's got that puff. Even on the back, it's puffy. You know what I mean? So on both sides, it's puffy. I'm really happy with it. I love the way it feels. I like the way it looks. I think the variegated looks nice in this sort of pattern. I am going to obviously put borders around all the edges when I join it all into a big granny square blanket. But yeah, look, this stitch is time consuming, number one. Number two, it is a yarn eater. It just chews up the yarn. Massive amounts of yarn in this, which is great when I've got scraps, but there might be some yarn balls that I don't have the same amount of yarn in, so I might get, like 3/4 of the way through a square and realize, oh, I've run out. I lost that game of yarn chicken. So we'll see how that goes. And like, this is not the most fun stitch to do either, because this is one where I end up with like 24 loops on the hook, and then you have to like pull the thread through all of them. And in the beginning, you're like, until you get used to it, you just sometimes you lose the loops, then you got to start over again. It's yeah, it's not the most fun, and it does take me a long time because I can only do 15 minutes at a time, and then I like to take at least a 1 hour break. And obviously sometimes, I can't do that for like 12 hours a day. I can do that for a couple of hours a day because I've got other things to do. So this is actually more time consuming. I was hoping it's something I could do in between projects. Like I could, in the past, I would have whipped this out in one day, obviously. Like it wouldn't have taken me that long at all, but now it's taking me like 2 days with my little 10-15 minutes, my less than 1 hour a day. I don't know, actually I'm going to time myself to see how long it actually takes me to make this. I don't actually know. Now that I'm going real slow too, because that's another thing I'm trying to do to avoid re-injuring, because I'm still injured. I haven't completely recovered. Is that I'm trying to go a lot slower. I was also a very fast crocheter, and I would just like, tight and fast. And I think that's what led to my injury. So I'm trying to slow down as much as I can. But yeah, I'm someone who, I can't just do one big project. Like when I started the top, I thought, oh my God, I can't just do this until it's finished. I just find it really just demotivating. I get bored. I have to break it up with something that I can finish in a short amount of time. I don't know if it's because of like, I know there's like a dopamine thing, and having a completed project like gives me that dopamine hit. But for me personally, like, yeah, like, I need small projects in between one that would take a lot longer. Like I remember doing the beanie. I had to keep breaking it up with like making taro bags and other stuff in between because I just couldn't sit there and continue doing the one thing. So yeah, that's what I've been up to with my crochet. And have I done anything else? Oh, I drew a picture, but I'm not going to show it. We all know what my art's like. It ain't that great, but it's fun. So that's everything from Craft Cafe this week. In the future, I might have my friend and I talking about doing a joint thing. She's a stitch witch. She's a master knitter. She also crochets as well, but she's just amazing, and it's because of her that I was able to go down this path, and I just harass her all the time for tips and tricks and help me. What do I do? But yeah, we've got that in the works in the future once I have a better phone. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And as always, stay wild, star child.